were her DNA results. She is related to one of the pharaohs, Ramsey. She is a Black American um, woman. So there's that. And like I said, I'm here to double down. So I have even more information on we are truly the Kemetics, and they're hiding this shit. And shout out to these white people I'm about to put on the screen. There's a whole temple in Tennessee in which I'm gonna show you right now. Just listen up, all right?
Remember back in the 1930s when archaeologists found... Remember back in the 1930s...
Oh, sorry. Hold up.
Archaeologists found...
Remember back in the 1930s when archaeologists found an Egyptian temple buried in eastern Tennessee?
That's okay, not a lot of people do. But back in 1934, they were building something called Norris Dam, just north of Knoxville, Tennessee. The Tennessee Valley Authority started surveying the valley that the Norris Dam was going to flood. They found many native mounds and started excavating a bit, and found some really extraordinary things. As they started digging, they found layer after layer, and went down over 20 foot until they found a 100-foot by 100-foot platform with a large raised area in the center. They called this a temple.
As they dug deeper and deeper, they found multiple skeletons on the site, unlike any that they'd found in the area. And the site itself kept getting deeper and deeper. It appeared to just keep going. At the time, it caused quite an uproar, and over 400 workers were excavating that site.
They found multiple relics that were unlike anything they had seen in the area, including a pigment box that held a shade of purple that could only be found in sea mollusks and was completely unknown in North America.
The site gained the attention of James Randall Harris, a professor of ancient languages from Cambridge and later Johns Hopkins University. Harris came up with some very interesting conclusions. And I quote, "The Hopewell," he writes, "were latecomers, who raised the mounds of earth over a much older temple built by pharaonic Egyptian emigres to the most important deities, Isis, the Queen of Heaven, and her husband, Osiris, the god of resurrection." I have his book on order, as well as the 400-page book on the excavation from the Smithsonian, so I'll undoubtedly be speaking about this more in a future video. But for now, that area has some very interesting correspondences with legends from the Cherokee. The Cherokee have legends about a group of priesthood that lived in their area called the Anikutani. This priesthood was wiped out. Now I'm going to read this directly from a historical source, so you know it's not my language. Quote, from Cherokee Principal Chief Charles Hicks in 1826 in his manuscript, The History of the Cherokee People, "The mound builders were greatly weakened by a plague. We entered the North Carolina mountains from the west, and we killed and drove off the mound builders. We burned their temples atop the mounds and then constructed our towns and houses on the mounds. The Cherokee never built any mounds." Further on, quote, "The Anikutani profess themselves, as stated by the traditioners, to be the teachers of heavenly knowledge from the creation, and the manner of their introduction to the assembled people is usually at night. And they usually came with the words, 'I am from above.' The name was a foreign word to the Cherokee. The Katani came to mean somebody who starts a fire or a sorcerer." These tales all come from the area of eastern Tennessee, right where that temple is, and that temple is now under a lake.
Whoa, all right. That's huge amounts of information to take in. He said a people called the Anikatani. You already know I'm going to go with this if you know who the fuck I am. It's the same shit, bro. The Anikatani, Anunnaki. Anikatani came from heavens. The Anunnaki came from heavens, came from space. Anikatani, the same thing. They did the same thing, bro. It's the same thing, but let's note what he said. He said immigrants. There's the Egyptian temple in Tennessee underwater because they built over all of our shit. So all these things you see now, where you see these buildings and this architecture and you think it's all nice and shit, really it's because they destroyed whatever was there and just built over it. Most things, and most of these things were the early Egyptian refugee things. And then, like I said, they became Native Americans, and you have to think there's there's a book called 500 Nations. 500 nations of the indigenous natives that were here, who are the descendants, once again, of the Kemetic people who were in America. That's what native tribes are. They just don't have the same information. We're not on the same hemisphere. They're all the way in the east. with the Kemetic temples and everything. We're here on the West. We don't have the same animals. We don't have the same nothing. So you're going to develop a whole new different culture, a completely different culture, and that's what was happening here. We were developing a whole new different culture, and in the mix of figuring it out, still, niggas was not cooperating with each other. We had Native American nations fighting with each other because they didn't understand each other. They didn't understand everything neither. And then in the mix of that, you're still building it up, and now you have white people coming here, and then it was just game over for that because niggas start. Well, the Moors, importantly, brought them over and shit because the Moors had families within these native tribes, which is how they already knew how to get here and shit and had the maps because they was fucking visit fucking their cousins and shit who were natives, but the Moors were just traveling and shit. They didn't stick to the traditional, what they was trying to figure out and shit. They already knew what was here. But besides that point, I'm gonna keep it moving because it just goes to show, like I said, we are the same people. That's why that type of pyramid is in the back of the dollar. You have to understand why I'm doubling down on these words. Every day I fucking wake up. Every fucking day I wake up and I walk through this fucking thing and you niggas are tripling down, flipping down, fucking quadrupling down on this fake ass Jesus shit. And it's nonstop every fucking day I get that shit. So I have to do my due diligence to make sure I get across my information. Because your shit is false. I don't give a fuck what you motherfuckers say. You niggas don't research shit. You just go based on what your parents said and off your grandparents and off your cousins and off your mammies and off what eventually, if you trickle down, some other path. All right, here we go. Now, this is a retired government worker. Once again, shout out to the white people who are truly honest and because they migrated and refugeed here due to being overthrown 7 times in Kemet.
Egyptians in Utah.
Let me bring that back. Proof of Egyptians in Utah now. All right, so now 500 nations. Remember, 500 nations, bro. 500 nations of Native Americans. This is another Egyptian artifacts in Utah now. So Tennessee to Utah now.
With the exception of one that I've actually seen photos of from someone else. I'm trying to get my own photos now, but I know people have looked for one down around Lake Powell. I don't know if they've ever found it or not. There's supposed to be a panel of writing down there, but start out with the first one.
Hold on. Proof is in the motherfucking pudding. Lost the knowledge over time. Probably within one generation. Then the next generation happened. Then the next generation happened, and those generations kept happening to eventually they just became Native American tribes all across the board. That is what happened. That's who we are. That's who they don't want us to know. This same thing with the Kemetic people. Like they had something that the world didn't, and everybody gravitated towards them. Just like Black Americans, everyone wants to be fucking Black Americans. Why? Because we're still carrying that Kemetic swag from when we had back then, from when everybody wanted to be us. We still have it. It's the same motherfucking thing. All right, the same thing. It's no different. But like I said, Lake Powell, if you go to Lake Powell, there's this seal right here of Egyptian writing, and I'm not gonna go into deep right there, but I just wanted to show you that piece of proof. He goes on and on. You can see the video right there if you want to continue. He talks about some other things that he heard from his other friends, but he doesn't have the tangible evidence of it so far. So I'm gonna leave that alone. I just wanted to show you that tangible evidence of that Egyptian seal in Utah, Lake Powell. And then what else did I want to double down on? What else? The second son. I do want to double down on the second son because I didn't get to show that the stone showing of it. How I know that's true because, like I said, stone don't lie. Stone has never led me to to disbelief, or it doesn't have contradictions like a Bible or any of the other doctrines, because those doctrines are translations on translations on translations on translations, and the version you got, your King James version you got, is the version of the resulted war that was won. So the war that was won battling for the ideology of Christianity was the King James version. That's the one that won the war. And yet the whole religion is supposed to be based off peace and love, and Jesus is supposed to be turn the cheek and love others. It should never have to be spread through war. But the fact that it's spread through war is common sense to me, that it is obviously a man-made thing, and it was for power. It was for power. Just like today, you see motherfuckers fighting for power. It's the same thing. America just dropped the bomb on what was it, Yemen or something like that, and everyone's like, why would they do that? Why? Because you motherfuckers is not paying attention. It's the same wars from back then. It's the Islamic word versus the Christianity word. You're like, they did it for no reason. It's not for no reason. It's a holy war, or a fake holy war, between these people with their fake ass gods that don't exist. It's a holy war, a fake ass holy war between them. But where was I? The second son. That's what I wanted to prove. Alright. So, like I said, stone don't lie. Every time these motherfuckers say some shit in stone, whether it be directions to a place or something, people usually find it. And that's another reason how we know we're reading it right? Because others think, well, you know you're translating it right, blah, 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 blah. Because if these motherfuckers is reading it and they're following it to the directions they're saying, and they find shit, that means they read it right? Alright. Anyway, so I want you, this is a very important seal. I want you to see this, right? You have the moon. You have, this is their flying device or whatever it is. But remember what that second sun looked like, right? Remember the planetary alignment of Saturn, the most important planet to black people. Venus and Mars, the most important planet to melanated people. And now look, right there. There it is, shining. Isn't that the exact same thing as this picture? The second sun. And I'm going to give you another one. Look, alright. Because I didn't get to show you that's just one sun in that photo, right? Alright. Alright. So let's go to another one, because I want to thoroughly prove to you there was two suns in the motherfucking sky, and those two suns stimulate melanin different, and all these motherfuckers do we're just waiting for the second sun. Oh, here's another good piece of fact. Okay, so the Sumerians and the Egyptian Kemetics are, and a lot of people want to say they're not hand in hand, and they might not be, but I think they are for a lot of different reasons. But anyway, even Ra, the Kemetic god of the sun, is not the sun I think we thought it was. It's not, because look, back then, Dinger, if that's how you pronounce it, Dinger to Ra. So the Sumerian seal for sky was this seal right here on the left hand, right? And then that transformed into time into Dinger. Now look at the circle with the dot in the middle. It's the sun. It's the second sun, the Saturn sun, the Venus alignment, and the Mars alignment. It's the second sun. And then that eventually completely became Ra. That same exact sun, that same exact symbol, which was the second sun. You understand what I'm saying to you?